Let's be honest, cursed items have a massive reputation problem in most tabletop games. We tend to think of them as these simple punishments, just traps waiting to be sprung on us. But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at them? What if the best curses, the ones we actually remember from stories, aren't about punishment at all? What if they're about utility?
Yeah, that's the vibe, right? That's what we all think when we hear the word cursed. It's this immediate signal that, oh boy, a bad time is coming. But that is a deeply flawed design. And welcome to the Dungeon Master's Apprentice. This channel is about RPG design, consequences, and why games actually work at the table. Today, we're going to fix curses.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the fundamental failure of most curses. See, the vast majority of cursed items you'll find in game manuals, well, they're designed to be escaped. You find them, you identify the curse, and then the whole story just becomes about getting rid of the thing. And that, right there, completely misses the point. Now, what's really interesting is that they fail in three very predictable ways. First, they just rip away player choice, turning you into a puppet. Second, they literally punish you for engaging with the world. The second you touch that cool, shiny sword, something bad happens, which teaches you exactly one lesson: don't touch the cool stuff. And third, they completely collapse their own value. The moment the curse is known, the item is just junk. It's gone from the story, and all that potential tension just, poof, vanishes with.
So let's completely reframe this whole idea. Instead of thinking of curses as traps, we should be thinking of them as having a price tag. This is such a crucial shift. The item isn't a punishment, it's a tool with a very specific and often a very, very high price.
Let's actually give this a name. We'll call it priced power. The idea is simple. The power the item gives you is real, and the benefit is obvious. It works, and it works really well. But every single time you use it, you pay a meaningful cost. This isn't some one-time penalty, it's a recurring transaction.
And this is the most critical part of all. The player chooses to pay the price. It's an active decision every single time. They weigh the benefit against the cost, and they decide the power is worth it. This keeps player agency right where it belongs and makes the curse a source of real drama and character, not just some mechanical headache.
And this isn't just some abstract theory either. We can see this idea of priced power in action all over the place in popular culture. So let's look at three fantastic examples to see how this builds a way more compelling story.
The One Ring from The Lord of the Rings is, I would argue, the best designed cursed item ever created. And the reason is so simple. It never, ever stops being useful. It gives you invisibility, it gives you authority, it gives you power, right up until the very, very end. The temptation to use it is always there because the benefit is always real.
The ring's absolute genius is in its cost structure. The price isn't paid up front, right? It's delayed, and it escalates. Each time Frodo uses it, he gets more dependent, and the Eye of Sauron gets a little bit closer. But even more than that, the cost starts as a moral one. The temptation to hide, to dominate, to just take the easy way out. And slowly, it becomes existential. It starts eating away at his very soul. And crucially, at no point is the right answer to just chuck it. It's essential to the quest, which makes the struggle so tragic and so deeply human.
The mask works for the exact same reason. When poor, meek Stanley Ipkiss puts that thing on, he becomes charismatic. He's fearless. He's unstoppable. It solves all his problems in a heartbeat. The cost isn't a sudden punishment. The cost is, well, it's behavioral drift. His inhibitions just vanish. His darkest impulses take over. So the important point is, the mask doesn't force him to be evil. It just makes his worst ideas incredibly efficient. He chooses the power, and the price is his own identity. But maybe the clearest, most overlooked example of perfect curse design comes from an Adam Sandler movie. Seriously. The universal remote from Click is an absolute masterclass in priced power. Let's break down how this curse actually builds, because this is where the design gets truly brilliant. Michael uses it to skip a single argument with his wife. Just one. It's a small, totally understandable choice to avoid some conflict. But the remote learns. From that point on, it automates his preference, and it starts skipping all the arguments. It isn't being malicious, it's just doing what he taught it to do. This is escalation without betrayal. It doesn't remove his agency, it automates his past choices, which is so much more terrifying.
And this just brilliantly shows the true cost. Michael isn't punished with lightning bolts or a sudden alignment shift. The consequence is way more subtle and way more devastating. He suffers the absence of his own life. An entire lifetime of moments, the good and the bad, just gone. because he optimized for efficiency instead of being present. Finding this helpful, you can let me know by liking the video or subscribing for more like it.
So this brings us to the true end condition for a well-designed curse. It's not about finding the right spell or performing some ritual to destroy the item. The story ends when the user no longer needs the advantage the item provides.
So, when does the curse actually end? Think of it like a cursed sword that whispers in your mind. You keep using it, despite the corruption, because you need it to win. You need what it does. The only time you'll truly be free is when you're in a desperate fight, you reach for that sword, and then you stop. You choose to face the consequences without its power.
This contrast is everything. With a bad design, getting rid of the item is a relief. It feels smart. Keeping it feels stupid. But with good design, removal feels like a loss. Discarding the item feels costly, like you're making a genuine sacrifice. And keeping it, despite all the downsides, feels completely understandable. You get why the character just can't let it go. Michael from Click never finds some loophole to escape the remote's power. The curse only ends when he finally learns its lesson. When he finally understands the value of being present, the remote's main function, skipping life's hard parts, no longer has any leverage over him. He has outgrown its advantage.
So what does this all boil down to? It gives us one simple, really actionable rule that we can use to design better, more memorable cursed items for our own games.
Here it is! A good cursed item should be easy to get rid of, but hard to give up. Mechanically, the player should be able to throw it in a river anytime they want, but narratively, that act should feel like a sacrifice. If abandoning the item just feels like a relief, the design has failed. If it feels like a genuine loss, you've done it right.
Ultimately, cursed items aren't just horror props, they are decision engines. And when you design them to stay useful, to price their power, instead of just taking it away, the item becomes this amazing source of compelling, character-driven story. Because the best cursed items are never just destroyed, they're outgrown. That's the core idea. And until next time, adventure on.